Hi, I'm Jonathan Thomas, and welcome to another edition of City at Your Service. And right now, I am joined by Jorge Morales, the director of the Watershed Protection Department. Thank you so much for joining us here, Jorge. You guys have a lot of exciting things you're working on. But first off, just for folks out there, because we like to, the whole point of City at Your Service is to remind people of the services that the city provides. What exactly goes on with the Watershed Protection Department?
Well, I'm excited to be here, Jonathan. Thank you for the question, and thank you for everybody that's watching. So the Watershed Protection Department, we protect our community from flooding, erosion, and water pollution. We are also the stewards of keeping our creeks clean and also our natural waterways. We're responsible for the drainage and water quality of all the waterways in the city of Austin and all the environmental projects throughout the city as well.
And, just quickly, Jorge, I mean, that's obviously a big topic right now, with the unfortunate flooding and everything that happened in Central Texas and in the area here. Kind of what has been kind of some of the thinking, lately in terms of just kind of getting out and informing people about, what steps you all are taking, and just informing folks about how this affects, the community.
Yes. And first of all, yes, we got to acknowledge that July 4th weekend floods were devastating here in Central Texas. And we're always wanting to remind our community that Central Texas is known as Flash Flood Alley. We experienced some of the most intense rainfalls in the world here in Central Texas. And July 4th was just that, a reminder. And so Austin is no stranger to flooding. And Watershed Department created a strategic plan in 2001 that laid out how we were going to prioritize the way we manage our project for flooding, erosion, and water pollution. And so over the summer, we've been soliciting feedback from our new updates that we're working on. It's called Rain to River. And so we're very excited about that project because it's the department's strategic plan on how we're going to move forward for the next 10 years and how we're going to prioritize what's important to the community. So as we get this reminder, it's important to hear the voice of the community. What is the important areas that we need to focus on? And this Rain to River project that we're out there soliciting feedback as we speak right now, it's going to help us drive that direction as we move forward.
How important is it to get feedback on a project like
Yes, it's very important. We recognize that when we created our first plan after the department became a department, because Watershed is one of the, I would say, relatively new departments. We became official department around 1996. And it came from the 1981 floods, the Memorial Day floods of 1981. If you've been in Austin, you've probably heard about it. So unfortunately, we experienced 13 lives that were lost in that storm event. And shortly thereafter, the city started building a drainage charge and ultimately culminated in this department. And so we created a strategic plan in 2001, and it really hasn't been changed. We revised it, updated it in 2015, 16. So it's been about 20 years, and so we want to make sure that we're being relevant based on the information that the community, and we know climate's changed. There's a lot of changes happening. So it's important for us to keep using science and engineering to make our decisions, but we also want to make sure we're engaging the community. That's a big part of this strategic plan, is making sure that we're getting out there and actually talking to some of the community members that maybe haven't been involved in the past, some underrepresented areas in the city of Austin.
And what have been some pieces of feedback that you all have gotten thus far?
Oh, there's been a quite a bit of feedback, and so actually I took some notes. I'm going to reference my notes, some of the things that we're seeing or heard so far. And it's been an iterative process that we started actually shortly after the pandemic. So for one thing, we were changing the way we outreached and being able to use virtual conversations to be able to literally be in people's living rooms to have conversations and engage has been a great addition to this process, in addition to all the outreach events that we do as well, surveys and different methods that we use. But what we heard from the community so far is that natural resources and protecting our waterways and the water quality is very important to the community. People are concerned with the trash in the creeks and in the river.
Yes, they are.
Yes. And so that's a priority for our department. Many people shared stories of the impacts of the flooding. As I mentioned earlier, there's a history in Austin. Unfortunately, Austin has had flooding since the inception of its time. Since the 1800s, we've got records of flooding events have come through Austin. And so people remember, and that's something that's come out. And especially, we had a stretch between 2013 to 2016 of major floods here in Central Texas, and a lot of flooding of homes. We lost lives as well, and so that came up quite a bit, especially some of the events like we did have Memorial Day flooding in 2015, and we had two Halloween floods in 2013, 2015. So that came up as well. And of course, climate change came up. People are concerned, as they see firsthand the displacement that occurs with climate change. And so the unhoused community and making sure that we're addressing that as well is a concern that we heard. And so what's great is that as we hear feedback, we're not waiting to finalize the report and publish it. We're taking action. We're doing things already. And I'm excited to say that one of the things pushed by some of the council members, and we're actually initiated already, is a flood insurance program to help subsidize or cover the flood insurance costs for homeowners that don't have the ability. What we've learned over the past is sometimes flooding occurs and people are uninsured that should have been insured, but cost is a impediment for them. So we're doing a pilot right now. We're ongoing and trying to evaluate what that might look for as we move forward as well. Another area that we've created a site that has a lot of great resources, and I want to plug it a few times if I could.
Please do. Plug it as often as possible.
Yeah, atxfloodsafety.com. It's a one-stop shop site that you can go, and it gives you resources, things you can do before, during, and after a flood. We have a lot of other links to other resources on that site as well. And so we're sharing that, as part of the outreach and community engagement process that we're doing. But it's very important for people to know that it's out there. And if you have any questions of what you can do, go to atxfloodsafety.com. Lastly, one of the things that we've heard a lot is signage in creeks. And we do have atxfloods.com that we do it in partnership with a lot of the media during storm events. It not only tells you where the roads might be closed because of low water crossings, but we have cameras that we have throughout the city that we monitor where the water's over the roads. We have resources on that website as well. And so making sure that the roadways are kept clear or closed when they need to be closed to protect our community is another area that we've already been able to make changes and improvements since we started the feedback.
Yeah, and I'm sure, you all do the best job you can to deploy people to those areas to get those signs up so people, because obviously turn around, don't drown.
That's correct.
But obviously that makes it a lot easier when there's a sign up that says road closed, so people know they can't go through a barrier. Yeah,
no, that's right. And turn around, don't drown is a message we've been pushing, working with the media outlets, obviously. But it's very important to recognize, this summer has been a devastating summer. Obviously, we had the microburst storm event here in Austin that just came out of nowhere. Right. And we lost a life during that event, but we had a lot of structures flood. A lot of vehicles got caught up in these flash flooding. And a couple of weeks later, we had a similar event in San Antonio that 13 lives were lost. And most of that was people in the roadways. Mm-hmm. And so most of the lives that are lost during flooding are tied to folks in vehicles on the roadways. So turn around, drone around is a very important message that we communicate, and we want to continue to remind folks. And some of the information that we put out during storm events is to help inform community of, ideally, if you don't have to be on the road, don't be on the road. But if you have to go on the road, here's some sites where you might be able to see what's closed and be more strategic as you have to be out there in the storm event.
Yep. Can't stress it enough. Mm-hmm. Turn around, don't drown. Yes. Exactly right. We all have seen how quickly, the water can, flood the roads here. Yes. So we can't repeat that enough. Tell us, what's the next phase here for the Rain to River project, Jorge?
So we've been collecting this information for quite some time, right? We started, actually around 2020, engaging during the pandemic with the community. But we took a lot of the information. Now we're actually going back a second round. And so right now we're actively have a survey out there on the website and asking for final feedback from the community as we start wrapping up this plan and present it to council next year so we can adopt it. This would be the strategic plan that's adopted for the community, right? And so this survey will stay open until September 15th, which is right around the corner, about a month away. And so we do ask the community to go out and fill out the survey if you haven't done so already. We have different ways to be able to access it, different languages. We try to be very intentional to make sure that everybody that wants to participate has an opportunity to participate in this as well.
Now, personally, Jorge, what got you interested in this line of work?
Well, that's a great question. So I started. I'm not originally from Austin, but I came to Austin via the military. So I grew up in the Dallas area, and so I joined the U.S. Army. And I tell everybody I joined the Army to travel the world, and they sent me to Fort Hood, which is 2 hours from where I grew up, right? And so, but blessing in disguise. I graduated. I finished my service in the military, and went to college afterwards. So I was a freshman coming out of the military. I got out in '98, and I started in August in '98 at UT engineering school, and I came to work for the city of Austin in October of 1998. So if you go do a little research, there was major flooding in October of 1998. And I actually had come to work for the Watershed Protection Department back in those days. And so I actually started as an intern in Watershed right after a major flooding event, not just in Central Texas, but it almost was like a statewide. There was a lot of flooding that occurred. And so that was the first introduction to realizing that this is an important issue. And going into engineering, I was about to venture into a new career path that was going to help me do things to improve my community, keep my community safe. And so on and off, but now as a director, I'm just excited to have a full circle moment, right? But that's what inspired me, influenced me to be able to come in as an intern and see firsthand the passion this department had in protecting and finding solutions for the community as it related to flooding.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that answers my next question. What was it that made you say when that was happening, to instead of maybe running from it, to dive in, head first, say, hey, okay, I want to learn, all about this so I can do my part to help.
Mm-hmm. Well, it breaks your heart anytime you see community members that are impacted by flooding. Anytime somebody has to recover from that, it's a process, it's a journey. And to be able to go out there with the engineers when I was just starting to even figure out what civil engineering was, and engineering is about finding solutions, solving problems, right? And so public servants and working for the community, that's what we do, right? And so to get out there, I was able to go out firsthand and see some of the destruction that occurred from the storm events, seeing the numerous work tickets stacked full that I had to enter into the database for the engineers and the operations staff to go out there and find solutions. It just left an impact on me, right? To realize that we have the ability to help people by fixing problems, but also by preventing problems, right? And as a city organization, we regulate the floodplain. We look for risk areas and identify those areas so we can communicate it to the community. And so this way the community can also prepare themselves, right? Because you can't eliminate flooding. Flooding is going to occur all the time, but how do you prepare the community to be more resilient, be aware of their surroundings, the risks there when you buy a home? A lot of time people don't even pay attention, but it is part of the process on floodplains. But what people don't know is localized flooding. We talk about it quite a bit.
Yes.
That's when you flood and you're not near the creek or the river. That means the storm system either doesn't exist or is inadequate or you got clogged, something happened, right? And so about a quarter of our flooding generally is localized flooding. And so it's important for us to create opportunities to educate our community, to make them aware. And so this atxfloodsafety.com is a great resource that shows you this is how I can find out, am I in the floodplain? It's got links for different sites, but also what can I do to prepare for myself should I ever flood, right? Or be in that situation.
Yes, man, you were spitting some big time game right there. That's very important. Everything you were just saying. Before we let you go, Jorge, obviously we're talking about the Rain River Project, and there's a survey up till September 15th, correct?
That's correct.
Where people can, provide feedback on that project. Anything else people should know? What are some other ways that they can make their voices heard?
Yes, Jonathan. I don't think I actually plugged the website, so I want to make sure I say that. So rain2riveratx.com will take you to the survey. And I encourage you, when you go to the survey, look around the site because we've been soliciting feedback from the community for a couple of years now, at least. And so we have reports already out there from the feedback we received because we created an ambassador program where we worked with community members to go out and work within their own community to ask the solicit questions. We actually sponsored some of the nonprofit groups that we went through a process where we leaned on leaders in this community that already have organizations to go out and help solicit the feedback. So in addition to us as a city going out, we actually worked with the community to get the community to help give feedback, right? And so go to rain2riveratx.com, take our latest survey, because we want to hear your voice, because shaping our priorities is what I'm asking of you right now. So the community is a big part of what we're going to do. And once again, we took a different approach this time around as we updated the strategy plan, and it's very community focused. And we want to hear everybody's voices. And so it's still out there for about a month. So go check out the website, rain2riveratx.com.
rain2riveratx.com, and that survey will be up till September 15th. And also the other website people can go to, Jorge?
atxfloodsafety.com, one-stop shop for what you can do before, during, and after a storm event. And as we continue to move forward, I just want to make sure that everybody knows Watershed Protection Department, this is our mission, but we're part of the city of Austin. We're one city, one voice, and we're all here to support each other. So we work with Homeland Security, Emergency Management, Transportation, Public Works, Parks Department. All departments come together whenever there's an emergency. We all collaborate and work together to support our community as we move forward.
Awesome. Well said, Jorge. All right, before we get you out of here, where can they find you on social, the department on social, info on social?
Great question. We actually have the standard website, City of Austin website, right, where you can go to departments and you will see the watershed protection. And as we move forward, it's Austin Watershed Protection. Right now, I think we're making some changes to the website citywide in general, but you can go to the department sites and you'll see watershed protection. And when you go to our site, we have numerous information on projects, programs, anything you want to know, including Rain to River. We have links for ourselves there as well. What else do we have? I think we also have X account.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yes.
X or Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, we have a Facebook social account. I think it's Austin Watershed if you go to look for us that way, just to distinguish. There's not too many watersheds, but we want to make sure it's Austin Watershed. And we don't have LinkedIn, but we use the city site all the time, and you'll see a lot of the watershed folks posting on LinkedIn as well. So that's another great resource. Instagram, we don't have an Instagram, so we don't have that site. So, but use the city's Instagram, I think.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for giving us all that great information, Jorge, on the Rain to River project and other great things that you all have going on. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me here. It's been great. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. That was Jorge Morales, the director of the Watershed Protection Department here for the city. I'm Jonathan Thomas. This has been another edition of City at Your Service. Have a great one.